Welcome everyone, and here is my little how-to on the We Are Memory Keepers bookbinding tool. I use this tool to learn how to make and create a Coptic notebook, but you can also use this tool for saddle stitching and Japanese bound books as well. With this tool, I created my first ever Coptic notebook. I created it using the Emerson paper collection from Heidi Swap, and with that collection I created my album covers as well as all of my inside signatures, which are all the little notebooks inside the Coptic notebook. So to create my covers, I simply used a piece of bookboard as well as a piece of pattern paper and 3 sheets of white copy paper and a piece of white cardstock. So this tool allows you to punch the covers and your signatures all in a uniform fashion so that when you stitch it together, everything aligns up perfectly. As you can see, my book is filled with all sorts of room for photos and journaling and notes. And I love how the Emerson papers look all together. Such a way to showcase a favorite paper collection, don't you think? So to create the covers for my album, this Coptic notebook was made using 4x6 pieces of bookboard. You can make any album any size. I just chose to make my first album a 4x6 album. So I'm going to show how easy it is to first create your covers. I simply found a piece of bookboard that I had kept on hand, and using my sticky thumb adhesive, you will just apply adhesive all over the front and back of your bookboard because you're going to want to cover both sides. But for this demo, I'm just going to cover the one side. And using a scrap piece of Emerson paper, simply choose which desired pattern you would like, and then place your bookboard onto the paper, smooth it out, and then once you have it nice and smooth, you can use a pair of scissors or a craft knife to make a clean cut all the way around. Usually I use a craft knife, but for this video I will just simply use my scissors to trim. And there you have one cover done. I also love to sand the edges of my covers for my books just to give it a nice vintage feel and a nice finishing. So when you purchase the bookbinding tool, you will also receive a little set of instructions, your wax thread, your piercing tool, and 2 needles. One is curved, which is essential to use for Coptic stitching, and the other needle is straight, which I think is more for your saddle stitch and your Japanese bound books. However, I haven't done those ones, so I'm just familiar with the curved needle at this point. So that's the tool you will use to make your piercings in both your cover and your signatures. So when you open your bookbinding tool, you will find an instruction booklet that will show all the different templates and instructions for Japanese bound Coptic stitch sewing as well as saddle stitch sewing. In order to begin, you will remove the guide, and to do that, you just will see that it has 2 little screws on the top and bottom, and that will remove that transparent guide. That transparent guide is what you use to punch your desired holes into both your cover and your notebook pages. So let's begin by punching our desired holes into our cover. What I've learned from creating a Coptic stitch notebook is that really there are no rules here. You can add as many or as little holes as you like. You can add them all in a row, you can stagger them. It's really up to you and how you want your book to look. But for this tutorial, I'm just going to show what I used and the method I did to make my covers. So you will align your bookboard against the edge, place and secure your guide in, and you can see that the middle holes are the ones I will be using, but again, you can place them however you want. For this purpose, I will do every second hole. And as you can see, everything is super easy. You just place in your piercing tool and punch your holes, and they are all beautiful in uniform and ready to go. Super, super easy for creating book covers. So now, in order to create your punches for your signatures, you will flip the transparent guide upside down so that you will have a V that will fit perfectly in its place, so that when you place your signature inside, it will securely stabilize your spine for easily punching for the saddle stitch. So you will just have to flip it over. So here I will demonstrate how I created my signatures. Again, I used 1 piece of pattern paper, a couple pieces of copy paper, 3 pieces to be exact, and a white piece of cardstock. I will simply sandwich fold them together, and I don't know where my bone folder is, but you would normally a bone folder will work perfect for this. And there is your notebook. So now I will open my notebook to the center seam, and once I have it aligned, and the trick here is you want the holes in your signature to match the holes in your covers. So you want to follow the same pattern. So like I said, we will put our guide into the next slot, align with our spine, and secure with the little screws at the top. Make sure everything is nice and centered. And I will follow the same pattern, doing every second hole. As you can see, those will align with my covers beautifully. You don't need to keep your cover there, but to get myself started, I will. And again, punching through every second template to create my coordinating holes for the book that match my cover. Easy peasy. And then you just unscrew and remove. And there you have it. Beautifully punched holes, ready to be bound. So following the steps that I just demonstrated, I was able to create all of the rest of my signatures for my Coptic notebook. I love how easily this tool allowed me to create identical notebooks for my album in no time at all. Thanks, guys.